Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for iPad today is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
Coming up, we are talking iOS 7 security, which is very important, plus some dud tips for iOS 7 and an eBay extravaganza. All that and ditch your printer, throw it out. Scanner too on iPad today. This episode of iPad Today is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website or online portfolio. For a free trial and 20% off, go to squarespace.com and use the offer code iPadToday9. And by GoToMeeting with HD Faces by Citrix, the powerful, simple way to meet and collaborate with coworkers and clients from anywhere. You can share the same screen and see each other face-to-face with HD video conferencing. Even present from an iPad. Sign up for your free 30-day trial today. Visit GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the promo code iPad. And by Shutterstock.com. With over 28 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, and video clips, Shutterstock helps you take your creative projects to the next level. For 25% off your new account, go to Shutterstock.com and use the offer code iPadToday9. Brian, I was all set to the finger, and then he just went back to me. It seems like I'm here alone. I'm not here alone. And this isn't Leo,
ghost.
Nor is it Ayaz Akhtar, who was my wonderful guest host last week. It's Shannon Morse.
I better do it up this week then.
You better. No, it's you've been on the show before.
I have, yes. That was really, really fun. I'm so excited.
I am excited too. Now, have you only hosted iPad Today with me once before?
Yeah, just once.
And I seem to remember for some reason, and maybe I'm crazy, that
I think we were switched.
We were switched. Because I don't know.
So
I'm
Leo today.
You're Leo.
Instead of being Sarah.
Fun. See, I like this seat better.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's no reason to switch just because Leo's gone.
I'm okay with it.
At least half of the show is normal, and the other half is a lot prettier than usual.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, hey.
I'm fast asleep right now.
You said you're running a little low on the sleep.
I am. I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning this morning. I don't know what was wrong with me.
Well, are you stressed? Are you drinking too much caffeine? Let's talk about what's wrong.
I got a really big event coming up next year, and I woke up, and that's all I was thinking about. I was like planning it in my head.
Are we talking about your
reason,
wedding?
My brain wouldn't shut off. Yeah.
You are already waking up in the
wouldn't
middle of the night about a wedding next year?
I don't know what's wrong with me.
Oh boy. No, I know the feeling.
Yeah.
When you're stressed, you're stressed.
Gosh.
You got stuff to do, check off the list.
I want to go home and take a nap.
Well,
but I'm here right now, and I had some caffeine.
Good.
And I put on some makeup, so I don't look like I'm half asleep.
You don't look asleep at all. You look lovely.
And we got to play with some cats, so I'm happy.
That's true. We'll be doing that a little later in the show, maybe. I don't want to make any promises.
Maybe.
But it's possible that Shannon and I, as cat lovers, may somehow find a reason to bring some cats into the show. I've already got Amber on the social hour talking about cats on the regular.
You did?
Yes, and she is allergic to them.
How did you do that?
Well, she's not really. She just sort of. I think she just felt beat down and gave in.
Aww.
So whatever.
Well, that time.
Yeah, exactly. So for anybody who's not familiar with your other work, besides being an iPad owner, you also produce and do segments here on Twit.
I do. Yeah, I do Before You Buy. So luckily, we get to check out all these new gadgets and review them on the show. And we give them out to everybody in the Team Force Twit network, so
it's fun. Sometimes there's a little crossover too. Sometimes I'll review something that's good for Before You Buy, but it's something that iPad Today viewers and listeners would be into. So you should check out that show.
Definitely.
As well.
Yeah, I do that, and I do Hack 5 on the Revision 3 network as well.
Cool.
Lots and lots of fun things.
Very awesome. Yeah, I know those guys. Darren Kitchen's a regular of ours on TNT on Fridays. So
yeah, those are my boys.
It's all one big family.
They always have to have a girl around so that stuff gets done.
Understand. That's actually how iPad Today works as well.
Oh, really?
No offense, Brian. But, between Brian and me, it's, and Jeff. That's true.
It gets done.
But, all right, so let's talk about, I mentioned that we were going to talk about security. And it's actually really great timing because this morning, iOS 7.0.2 was released. I have already installed it on iOS 7 here on my iPad. took a little longer than I thought it would, actually. This is a security update that is supposed to fix specifically being able to bypass a lock screen. Now, before the show, I had mentioned to you, yeah, you know, there was this whole lock screen thing where supposedly you could lock your screen and then enter your alarm clock mode and then cancel out and this and that. And I said, I've never gotten that to work, and you showed me.
Yeah.
Do you
want me to show
yes,
you?
I would like to. No,
well, hopefully I can get it to work, because it's a little bit jittery. So my phone is currently locked right now.
And this would apply to an iPad as well, but you've got your phone handy.
So it's locked. So what I'll do is pull up on the control center, which you can disable this, and that was the main point for a lot of people, is saying just disable it and you won't have this problem.
Yeah.
So you click on this little alarm clock app, and then you hold down on the power button as if you're going to turn it off.
Right. So then it says, okay,
so it says you want to turn it off. So you hit cancel and then double click on the home button. So you go cancel, double click. Oh.
It's a little wonky, isn't it?
It is,
it took us a couple times. All right, so we're back in the alarm. You're locked.
Cancel.
You say cancel. That's so weird.
I know, it's tough to do it, but
it's see, because this is
you can get it to happen half the time, and the other half it doesn't work.
But when it does,
there we go.
There you go.
So now you see all the different applications that I currently have open.
Right.
A little bit of multitasking. So I hit the camera app, and normally in the original iOS operating systems, you couldn't see the camera album down here.
Right,
but now I can click on this, and you can see a picture of my cat that I had taken previously today.
Yeah.
So from here, I can click on share, and I can actually get into all these different social applications.
And your phone is still locked.
Yeah, it's still locked. So I could get into Twitter, and I could like delete the picture and then post something really, really mean on my Snubs account.
Right.
And it would just go out to the world like normal.
Yeah.
I could send emails, or I could even post on Facebook. So if I cancel out of here, so I'll hit cancel and cancel, and then it's locked again. And it'll do the same thing if I hit the home button too. It just locks.
So it's a little, it's a finicky hack.
Yeah, it's a finicky
hack. That's why when I
went
through it a couple times, I was like,
bypass all that security.
Yeah. Okay.
And there was also the one where you could go to the emergency calls, and you could type in a number and then start hitting the call button over and over again. And it took some time. You had to have some patience to be able to get into it. But eventually, the Apple logo would appear, and then you'll make that call. And I tested it with my other phone. I was able to call myself on my other phone, even though my phone is locked. And I was able to, you know, talk to myself and everything. It worked just perfectly.
So it works perfectly, unless, of course, it's some nefarious person who wants to do terrible things. And these are just not little loopholes that we should have.
Right.
There should be no access like this.
Yeah.
So if all goes well, this is what 7.0.2 is supposed to rectify. It took me, I would say, from the time I said, okay, go ahead and install the update, and you know, I'm on the company Wi-Fi, it was a solid hour that my iPad was out of commission. Yeah, in fact, I was a little worried.
How big was the update?
Well, it's not that big.
Only a couple of megabytes?
Yeah.
Oh,
there's not, oh gosh, there's quite a few messages coming. I made the mistake of, you know, it's funny, I should mention this right now just because there are all sorts of things.
It's only 17. Wow, that's tiny.
I know, it just took forever. I don't know, I think a lot of us were doing it at the same time.
Maybe.
And my iPad has been a little weird on iOS 7 in general just because there's just so much data on it. But one of the things that I keep noticing about iOS 7, and we'll talk about this throughout the show, just little things that aren't immediately apparent because I'm so interested in the design and the swooping and the whooshing and this and that. In fact, I was asked before the show, does that new update fix all of those animations? And I said, no, it's a security update. And he said, it's making everybody seasick, which is like, Leo's rubbing off on you. But I noticed that what I had, because I like all of my devices in general to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And if you send me an iMessage note, well, maybe my phone is charging in the next room, but I might be holding my iPad, and I want it to all happen in the same place.
Right.
Even though it's overkill. Some people don't like that. I like it. I want iMessage to pop up on every device that I have. And I noticed after a while, just through the last trial and error of the last few days, where it's like, shoot, I missed somebody's message. They messaged me a while ago. Why didn't I get that on my iPad? That when I updated to iOS 7, that it stripped out my phone number.
Really?
The phone number is still in the system, but it was unchecked. I don't know if that's the case for everybody, but if you've noticed some inconsistencies with your, because these are basically all using the same iCloud account, which is
that's weird.
Which is how, yeah, I'm getting basically message sync.
I had a opposite issue where I turned off iMessages on my iPad, but I kept it on my phone.
Yeah.
So I have my phone on my constantly. Sometimes I don't have that on, and in previous OSs, I had the issue where iMessages would just go to my iPad and not to my phone. And I don't necessarily use my iPad 24/7.
Right, right.
So I turned it off. When I updated to iOS 7 on my iPad, they started reappearing. The iMessages started reappearing on my iPad.
And that's not what you wanted.
Exactly, yeah.
Interesting.
So it was like...
So it might just be something where it's not
it
necessarily it's just sort of a buggy thing.
It must be,
where your
yeah.
settings aren't being, yeah. Because I did not have to tell my iPad, hey, this is my iPhone's phone number again. It was there. It was just like, oh, we just decided
it just changed the settings.
We just decided to turn that off. Yeah, it just changed the settings. Another thing about settings, while we're on the subject of security, because we're talking about security for the next couple minutes, we got an email from Jeff who said this might be another added layer of security to your iOS device, so it could be iPad or iPhone, iOS device, by preventing changes to location services. So he says, if you enable restrictions, if you tap on settings, and then you go to general, and then you go to restrictions, there we go, restrictions, and then you enter a passcode, enable restrictions. All right, and then I go ahead and enter a passcode. I'll just do my normal passcode here, which is not, you know, don't use the same passcode that you would use to unlock your iPad. Just this is just for instructional purposes. Go ahead and enter a passcode. Then, while in restrictions, scroll into the privacy section. All right, where's my privacy section? Oh, I see. Okay, privacy, location services, right? Select don't allow changes. So at this point, at the top left, tap on restrictions. Notice the right of location services will now display a lock icon. Location services, where are my location services here? To the right of location services, top left, tap on restrictions. Oh, yeah, okay, location services. Sorry about my awful nail polish, but I don't want to flip you guys off, so we're just gonna do it the hard way. We've got a little lock icon. He says, here's the deal, is that it adds another layer of security to disable the ability to turn off Find My iPhone, which of course also works for Find My iPad. So at this point, if let's say, because in iOS 7, this is actually a feature that's supposed to help this, because you're supposed to have to turn on a passcode in order to turn off Find My iPad. However, Jeff says even if you didn't have that turned on, you basically say if somebody runs off with my iPad, then they can't turn off location services. It's basically like I've locked it by default, so I would presumably be able to track the thief or somebody in law enforcement. Please don't go after thieves yourself. So that's a nice little trick. I guess I knew that was there, but I've never actually used it myself.
Well, it's kind of a pain because I noticed they changed quite a few of their settings, especially for location services and some of those as well. I believe there was one that I read about in an article right when iOS 7 came out, that was a do not track that you can actually check mark in your settings so that when you go to certain websites, they can't track you. They can't enable, cookies or whatnot.
Right. Now,
plenty of important ones that you should set up.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, there are all sorts of things where it's like you would almost think that Apple would make a bigger deal about, hey, this is a great way to make sure that you've turned on as many security features as possible. But of course, it's the company's also allowing us to set our own parameters. One thing to note, and Jeff mentions this too, is if I go ahead and say don't allow changes here, this is in my location services, I've got a slew of apps that for the most part, I say turn on location services for everything, because that's how half of these apps work. So if I say no changes can be made, this is something, anytime I download an app, I'm going to have to make sure that those settings are correct, because I've basically turned off the ability to change anything.
Right.
So that will make it a little bit more cumbersome if you're in the process of downloading a bunch of new apps that take advantage of location services. But again, it at least gives you more granular control of all this stuff.
I'm the kind of person that will go in like month after month and make sure that all of my settings are the same and everything is checked marked where it should be, everything is unchecked where it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Because I'm paranoid.
Right, right.
So I do this stuff day in and day out, you know, even with like Facebook settings and whatnot. I always change them.
Well, and you know, with the iOS 7 weirdness that happened in iMessage, I mean, that was just a weird thing that ended up being inconvenient for me. It certainly wasn't a security issue. I mean, if anything, until I hooked it back up to my phone, I wasn't seeing all my text messages on my iPad, which sometimes are not safe for work. Whatever, I have weird friends. But yeah, I mean, it's that. But it just goes to your point: is that sometimes these things tend to revert to something that you don't want.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that you're covered.
Oh, Apple.
Oh,
always
Apple.
changing things.
Oh, you just don't go changing on us, except when you do. Hey, so in general, there's a nice little feature in our App Store this week, which is all the apps that are designed for iOS 7. Now, many of these, Leo and I have talked about on the show. I've got a lot of these already downloaded on my iPad. Obviously, anything that says open, I already own, or I've downloaded for free. But there are quite a few apps in here that I think just on the subject of iOS 7, stuff that has been optimized. Now, some of that, I don't know, Shannon. I mean, some of the optimized for iOS 7, it doesn't really look like much to me. You know, the keyboard's been, you know, a little bit of a color palette has been changed, and maybe they've flattened some graphics in general. But I think it's actually, especially if you are new to the iOS interface, maybe this is iOS 7 has got you into what's available in the App Store for the first time. It's just a nice little collection. You've got your featured or your release date, or you can search by name of all the apps that at least are on Apple's radar that have been optimized for the latest version of iOS. Some of these apps, again, most of them I've seen before. Some of them I haven't, or I certainly haven't downloaded them yet, so I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it seems like a lot of the ones that have already updated on my iOS 7 devices are just like cosmetically different. They just changed a couple of different looks. They didn't really make anything faster. They didn't change like the menus or anything like that. It was just making them look pretty and kind of matching iOS 7.
Exactly. Oh, interesting. A new Diptic program. Diptic PDQ for
I like
pretty
Diptic.
darn quick. Me too.
I'll have to
Interesting.
buy that one.
Is that the same people as that make, well, I'm just going to go ahead and buy this.
Why not?
Why not? You know, I'm just going to go ahead and buy it. It just seems like something I would like. Don't look at my passcode when it comes in. You know, see, but this is every once in a while. In general, I find that you know, it's not hard to keep on top of what's new and cool in the App Store. You know, we have way more apps than we could ever talk about week to week. But then Apple will put together a little collection. You know, it'd be like apps that are great for summer, back to school apps. In this case, designed for iOS 7. And then I'll find something that I've just never seen before. See, this is so cool. Okay, well, we've got, go ahead and access my photos. Diptic PDQ. Select the photos I want to use. Oh, this is kind of fun. Oh, let's take a photo of Leo, and then a photo of really unflattering photos of us, and then like a photo of me and some friends, and then a photo of Sammy, and then say done. Oh, my goodness. Whoa, hey, okay.
Ooh.
All right, so there's Leo. Well, what about if I do, can I? Ah, interesting. Okay. This is actually a cool little, you know, for anybody whoa, Sam, look, owners and cats looking alike. Oh, I see. Or then you could say, all right, okay, this is actually a pretty fun little program. This works better, than the diptychs that I'm used to. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. You could do something like this. Yeah, you get kind of granular with all of this. Focus on eyes. There you go. Look what I did. I mean, is that a masterpiece or what?
It's a total masterpiece. You're an artist.
99 cents. Diptic PDQ. There you go. Good stuff.
I like it.
All right. Did you see any? I mean, have you seen anything as since iOS 7 has been live that's really jumped out at you as like, ooh, this app is so much better?
The only things that have really jumped out at me are changes to some of the apps that I've already had.
Yeah.
Like the Mailbox app. The changes that they made to email have been pretty interesting. It took me maybe a day or two to get used to it, but after that I was fine. Otherwise, I haven't really checked out the store too much yet, so I haven't downloaded any new apps.
Well, now you've got a little collection.
Now I have Diptic.
Just waiting for you, Diptic PDQ. And somebody's saying, wait a second, Sarah, haven't we talked about something that's just like this in the past? And the answer is yes. In fact, it is called, where is it? I know you're in here. Diptic, regular old Diptic. Yep. And I was thinking, are these...
That's the one I have.
Is it the same company? If somebody knows offhand, let me know, because this is the Diptic that I've been familiar with.
Right.
The Diptic PDQ seems to be a little bit more responsive, which maybe has a little bit to do with iOS 7. You know, it's I don't know.
Yeah,
everything changes, right? Yeah, because this, if I was to go through the exact same process, it's sort of like, okay, now I'm going to call up photos one by one instead of calling up 4 photos and then saying, okay, now just let's make a Diptic. But I digress. We're not talking about photo apps today. We talked a little bit about security. Thank you for the good iOS 7 security demo.
Yeah.
So that should, again, be fit. You haven't gone ahead and updated this morning.
I haven't updated yet, but I'm going to do that right when I get home.
Yeah, so it should be fixed if all goes well. All right, we have a bunch of iOS news. We have some feedback from all of you. Shannon and I have apps to talk about. Before we start with any of that, we should take a moment to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this episode of iPad Today. We love Squarespace. It's an all-in-one platform. So if you want to start a blog, you want to just create some sort of even like an online store for yourself, some sort of professional website that shows off an online portfolio that you've made. All of that stuff is possible with Squarespace, and it's an all-in-one platform because it's not just about content, but it's about the hosting and the back end and being able to run message boards, all of that stuff. It's all possible with Squarespace. In fact, what we want you to do, because in the future we want to show more of the fabulous websites that you've built with Squarespace, is we want you to send a tweet with a link to your Squarespace website and make sure that you add the hashtag #TwitSquarespace, and then we'll take a look. We could choose your Squarespace site to mention in a future episode. #TwitSquarespace. It just, you can say whatever you want, but that's the way that we can search for it on Twitter. But here's some of the reasons, if you don't already have a Squarespace site, that you will love it. It's a great platform, designs, features, support, but the design part specifically is really beautiful. They have 20 new beautiful templates that may not have been there since the last time you checked it out for you to start with. Even if you don't make any changes to these templates, they're just beautiful. And of course, if you've got your customized content, then it's already going to look different than somebody else who might still be using that same template. But Squarespace also allows you to customize as much as you want. If you've got a template that you say, well, this is a good starting point, but I really want to make changes to the way that it looks and acts, and I want to make sure that the mobile version of my site is optimized. And we're actually looking at a mobile version of a site, a photography site, this taking pictures of a lot of really, really cute pictures of dogs. But this is actually really important. A lot of people end up making these beautiful websites, especially stuff that's featuring photography and nice big graphics and images. And then you access that same site on a mobile device, and it's like, oh, it doesn't look good at all. It's just not optimized. Squarespace is all about any image that you upload is encoded a bunch of different ways, basically. So any way that somebody is accessing your site from a variety of, is it a mobile device, is it a tablet, is it, a variety of different browsers, it's all gonna pretty much render the same way, and it's gonna look awesome. So that's a huge sticking point with sites in the past. It's search engine optimized. This ensures that your site's content can be crawled by Google and Yahoo, and more and more people are using Bing these days, other search engines. And like I mentioned, the hosting is included. Squarespace takes care of the hosting, so you don't have to deal with, okay, well, I made my site with Squarespace, but now I got to pay another company for hosting. It's all in one. It just makes sense. So, are you sold yet? If you're not using Squarespace, start a trial today. And you don't need a credit card or anything like that. You can start building your website absolutely free. When you decide to sign up for a Squarespace account, make sure to use the offer code iPadToday9. That's iPad Today, and then the number 9, and you get 20% off. And that's how you show your support for iPad Today. We thank Squarespace for their support of this show. And again, if you want to give it a go, squarespace.com, sign up for a free account. And when you decide to purchase, use the offer code iPadToday9 for that 20% off. Everything you need to create exceptional websites with Squarespace. And we thank Squarespace for their support. Okay, so Shannon, there was a story Leo and I covered a couple months ago now that big school district, in fact, the second biggest school district in the country behind New York Unified School District is Los Angeles. And that the LA Unified School District had decided, all right, well, we're going to pay Apple a crap ton of money. I think it was something like $40,000 to invest in a bunch of iPads. Basically, this was going to be somewhat of a staggered rollout because they've got many different districts and kids that span all ages from kindergarten to high school. But the idea is that we're going to have iPads for every student. Eventually.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it was a big deal, and you heard about Microsoft sort of saying, well, that seems to be a little short-sighted because, I mean, in 5 years, the whole tablet landscape could be very different. Do you really want a school district as huge as the one in Los Angeles to basically go all in on the iPad? And for a variety of reasons, representatives from that school district said, well, I mean, the iPad is still the tablet to have.
It's kind of like buying a college textbook your freshman year and then having to sell it back at the end of the year when you have to buy the new version.
Right.
I mean, it's a terrible comparison, but it's kind of similar in that sense that eventually they would probably have to sell them back or, sell them to some place that could, get them used or something like that and then purchase new versions whenever they would need them.
Right. Well, so the story sounds great. It's like, okay, well, more iPads for students. I mean, students, many of them have gotten used to it. I mean, at least when I was a kid, it was always Apple computers at school, and then we all had PCs at home.
Oregon Trail. Woo.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. So it seems to go in line with probably what a lot of teachers and schools are used to, but there's a story in the LA Times that maybe the Los Angeles Unified School District doesn't exactly know how to keep itself safe from kids getting access to stuff that they're not supposed to get access to. The whole idea with these iPads is it's not just like, oh, the kids can just be on Facebook all day when they're in school.
Right.
They're all lockdown versions. They have special software that's installed. So this is something that can be a teacher's tool, a way to work on homework and follow the syllabus in class and all of that stuff on an iPad, basically just taking it digital. Except that it says 1 week after students at Theodore Roosevelt High School, which is one of the schools in the county district that have gotten iPads, 1 week after students figured out how to hack security so that they could surf the web on their new iPads that were issued by the schools. And this says it raises new concerns about a plan to distribute the devices to all the students in the district. And I went, oh gosh, so what did they do? Turns out all you had to do was take all of the personal information out of the settings area for an iPad. It's not really a hack at all.
Really?
Yeah.
So they're
the
iPad bypassing those security settings that the school had set up.
Exactly. But it wasn't
deleting.
hard to do. It was just sort of like, oh,
so
let's just say I don't exist. And then it was like, okay, Facebook for all. And it says
that's hilarious.
This article, it makes it it's very scary. It says soon the students were sending tweets, socializing on Facebook, and streaming music through Pandora.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh no!
These are all free services. It's not like it's costing the school anything.
Right.
But again, the whole idea is iPads could be time wasters, social time wasters for students, and they were trying to figure out how to keep students out of the social stuff, which I think is just a losing battle in general.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I know.
No, if you're going to give somebody an iPad, they're obviously going to try to figure out how to make it work for themselves.
Exactly.
I mean, if somebody gave me an iPad and they said, you can only use this for work, I'd be like, please.
Yeah, let me show you how I can bypass this.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm taking this on the plane and reading my books or whatever. I don't care.
Exactly. It's sort of like figuring out how to, with schools that make you wear uniforms. It's like the girls always figure out how to make the skirts shorter, or the guys figure out how to make the blazers I don't know.
Yep, exactly.
Change where the pocket is, and yeah, you just like kids do that by nature. They want to rebel against authority, so they're going to figure out. Unless I don't know, the LA school and Apple work together for some update that keeps students from being able to open up their iPads. But I mean, that is a crap. It's almost like a crappy thing. It's like, hey, student, wave of the future, shiny new iPad, but you can only use it to like work on your biology homework.
Oh, I would hate that. I would be so mad if somebody said that to me as a kid.
Right, right. Well, this is actually good news for anybody who has purchased AppleCare. Shannon, is this something that you would invest in, or have you invested in the past? When you bought your iPad, did you say, all right, I know that I'm a klutz and I need AppleCare in case
I've never
do something
bought
terrible?
AppleCare or insurance for my phone or tablet, although I do have AppleCare on my MacBook Air.
Okay, so now why the discrepancy? Is it just because?
Well, that one work paid for it, so I was like, all right.
So that's your answer. That's always my answer
but
too.
I never pay for insurance if I don't have to.
Yeah. And do you feel like it's just because you can take care of your stuff, or you just find that it's never something that you end up needing to use?
I think that insurance is kind of a waste of money because by the time I actually need to use it, I'm considering upgrading anyway. And I use, for example, on this, I have a Jelliskin on it, and I have a tablet, a little holder for it, so that's going to cover up the screen for me. And I keep it in one of those nice computer cases so that it doesn't break or it doesn't bang against anything. It's padded, so I don't have many difficulties with that. The only thing I need to worry about at home is like 2 cats, and I don't think they know how to pick up an iPad and drop it, so... I don't know. They might learn with their cute little paws.
They're getting smarter all the time. But yeah, no, I agree with you.
That's it, though.
I have purchased AppleCare in the past.
Yeah.
That is something that I have, you just kind of get suckered into it sometimes. And they say, well, it's going to
I did that with my first Xbox,
safe.
and I was like, that was so pointless.
Well, and I think that if an iPhone was something that, and iPhones and iPads, I might not be buying a new one every single year if it wasn't for work, but it is. But I don't think that I'm alone, that many of us just say latest and greatest. So how long do I have the iPad 3rd gen? Well, it's been 1.5 years now because I decided not to get the 4th gen just because
I have the 3rd gen too.
Yeah, there wasn't much difference. I felt like for the purposes of this show, none of you really care if it's a 3rd or a 4th gen. But if there's a new iPad that comes out later this year, I'll get it. And I won't get an AppleCare on top of it because the cycle is too short, and then I have another one. However, some of you say, well, that's just silly. You guys are crazy. Insurance for all. And if that is the case, you will like the fact that AppleCare now covers, if you're traveling, your iPhone, your iPad, your iPod, in any country where AppleCare is offered. It used to be that if you purchased AppleCare in the U.S., it only covered you in the U.S. Even if you go to France, let's say, and that's a country that you can also purchase AppleCare from, didn't transfer. Now, there are some little inconsistencies. Apple says, if for some reason there is something that's covered by AppleCare in the U.S., you go to a country that also has AppleCare, but your particular issue isn't covered in that country, you're out of luck. But for the most part, it's just going to open up. If you've got an issue and you're traveling and you're like, oh, I'm near an Apple store or something, then that's a lot nicer than it saying, oh, too bad.
You're screwed till you get back home.
Because everybody travels with their iPads.
I would not be happy about that if it was me.
Yeah.
It is pretty nice. I mean, if you're the kind of person that really needs insurance and you end up breaking your phone or tablet every time you go on vacation to France, I would definitely get insurance, and it would be really nice to be able to trade it out in France and not have to wait till I get back home. Because what if that's like your only communication?
Exactly.
I don't know what I would do.
In an emergency situation, this just seems a lot more flexible.
Yeah.
Now, I shouldn't mention this without also mentioning that Apple has raised its AppleCare service fees.
Surprise.
This made some folks a little annoyed. Even though AppleCare launched in Europe, it also raised the service fees for accidental damage from $49 to $79 for each visit.
49 to 79.
So in a way, it's like you get more flexibility. But if this is something that you find yourself using on a regular basis, the fees have been raised. Not so much, but $30 is not nothing.
Sounds kind of like a deductible. Per visit, you have to pay out of pocket.
It's Apple's HMO. Enjoy. Yes. Universal AppleCare for all. Wouldn't that be nice?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So that's
title.
Yeah, so that's good and bad news, I guess. Also, this is actually great news for developers. iOS 7 Tech Talks. This is something that Apple has decided to launch, which is a little bit in response to, so WWDC happens in June every year.
Right.
This is, of course, a worldwide developers conference. It happens in San Francisco. And developers from all over the world want to come and not just find out what's next for, this is where we heard all the details about iOS 7, which wasn't out yet. But it's a place for developers to meet other developers and start working on third-party apps. And it's a hot ticket to the point where it sells out in like 5 minutes now, and a lot of developers can't go anymore. And it really has nothing to do with how much you deserve to be there. It's just there's too much demand and not enough tickets to sell. So Apple says, all right, well, here's kind of the consolation prize is that we're going to launch a variety of tech talks around the world. For example, there's one Tuesday, October 15th in New York, Wednesday, November 6th in Tokyo, Berlin on December 12th, Shanghai, November 12th. And what's interesting about that is those are just app developer days. They also have, for the first time, broken out game developer days, because I think Apple finally realizes that there are just so many games in the App Store, and yes, they are apps, but they're such a large part of the App Store that they kind of need their own developer day. There's kind of the game developers, and then there are other app developers, and yeah, I mean, this is obviously there's 6 different cities: San Francisco, Shanghai, New York, Berlin, Tokyo, and London. So it's not covering South America, for example, but yeah, that's a good start.
Yeah, it is. I have a friend who wanted to go to WWDC. He was not able to make it because he couldn't get a ticket. So, and he's a developer. He makes applications for a living.
Yeah.
He would love to go to this. This would be perfect for him, especially since he wasn't able to go to the first conference.
Right.
This would be great.
I think so too. I think Apple is smart to. It doesn't, and I don't think it de-emphasizes WWDC.
No,
it's just like
it's like an add-on.
Exactly.
They're classes.
Right, right. And if you're a developer, you don't want to have to, even if you do get a ticket, it's like you should have more developer tools throughout the year.
Yeah.
Rather than just the one where everything has to be emphasized.
It sounds like this is very hands-on. It sounds like they're going to get to talk to people like one-on-one and be able to, discuss everything that they need to with them. So they'll be able to get a lot more done without having to go to a big conference.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like it.
I like it too. I think that's good stuff from Apple. Hey, so Google has launched a new search engine. Well, it's not a new search engine. It's updated engine for Chrome, and a card UI for mobile sites. But have also, we talked about this, last week or the week before, we talked about the fact that it was the week before, because I know it was Leo and I, cards coming to the iOS app. This is for Google search, and neither of us could figure out how it worked or something. But it was asking. We both had 2-factor auth turned on, and it was like too much is expected of us right this second. So we couldn't actually figure out how things were different. However, I have figured out how cards are kind of cool. So this is just regular Google search. This is not anything specific. But I've got my little card area, and this makes
cute.
Yeah, it makes the iOS version of the iPad app act a lot more like it would on Android.
Yeah, this is very familiar to me. I have a Nexus 4, and I use something like this constantly. I believe it's called Google Now.
Yeah.
I use it like every day to check like my time and commute.
Yeah.
Really, really useful.
Yeah, so these are sample cards that Google's basically saying, so get used to this stuff. You're in Petaluma right now, you got a nice little, cards, I guess you could call them sort of modern widgets, right? You've got your this is my calendar, a reminder that I've got a call with a sponsor tomorrow. As you mentioned, we've got traffic on the, what does Tom Merritt always say, on the ones? Traffic on the twos?
ones?
I don't know. It's some radio thing. I always hear him talk about that. Scheduled departures for public transportation I might be taking, upcoming flights. Apparently I'm going to Narita Airport soon, so didn't know anything about that. New sports scores, translation tools, currency exchange, the list goes on. I mean, this stuff is extremely helpful. So the nice thing about Google, and you mentioned Google Now, is that Google is all about like predicting what you need.
Yes.
Right? Which is scary a little bit, but if it works well,
bit.
also helpful. So the cards, it'll say, based on the sorts of stuff that you seem to be searching for or accessing, we'll know over time what cards you want displayed front and center. Which is
okay.
This is, hey, if Google search is something that you're using regularly on your iPad, this is just a really nice update.
Yeah, I like it. It's nice and smooth. It looks very easy to use.
Yeah.
And it looks fully integrated too. Fully integrated to your searches is what I mean.
Exactly.
It's cool.
Yeah, you've got some options as far as like location reporting and history. Now, I mentioned Google Now, and Shannon, I know that especially on Hack5, you guys tackle security
Yes.
concerns, security solutions all the time. In general, what do you think about the whole idea of more and more of these services being able to predict what you will do next based on data that you've done in the past?
It's tough. Well, with Google, I've pretty much given them authority to see my calendar and to update all that information, to see, what kind of transportation I'm taking for flights and whatnot. So I use Google now on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Super useful. But when it comes to new companies that I'm not as familiar with, or a company like Facebook necessarily, who changes their privacy settings 24/7 almost, I stay on top of those privacy settings a lot, and it's going to be really, really complicated for consumers to be able to get everything customized to the way they like day in and day out, because it's changing so much.
Right.
It's tough. It's
Yeah.
really, really tough these days because so many people don't want to take the time to work with that kind of stuff.
Exactly. By the way, some of you in chat are saying, what's this app called? Google Now? Google Now is sort of a feature of it's basically
It's
just
Google Search.
It's Google Search. That's what it is in iOS. If you search for Google Search, you either have it downloaded already, but it's the standard Google app. In the Google Now area of Google Search, so this is sort of a part of it, I can go ahead and say, yeah, I like all of this. I want you to monitor pretty much everything, but I really don't want my next appointment to be something that Google Now is pulling from. That's just not information I feel is relevant to my overall experience. So you can go in there and pick and choose what you want it to be pulling from. So just because you're using Google Search does not mean that you're telling Google everything about your life.
Hey, check all my mails.
Although you
Read
are by
everything.
default, so it's a turn off if you don't like this type of a thing, rather than turn on these services. They might be helpful.
It's okay. The NSA is reading all your mail anyway. So.
I know. It's like, what do we care at this point? Finally, here's a little dot tip. Here's a little dot tip that I can't attribute this to anybody because I found it myself. Usually I read dot tips that you guys send in. So if somebody sent in this dot tip, I am sorry. Somehow I did not see your email, but I'm going to go ahead and take credit. So this is, if you're in the Messages app, and let's just go ahead and, okay, so I've got like a bunch of messages from a variety of friends here. I've actually looked through this already, so you guys go ahead and look at all those messages. There's nothing good in there because this is my little test account where I send
Brian's
text
like,
to myself. Yes. Yeah, Brian's like, good, I don't have to. Or Jeff is like, I don't have to use the fuzz tool in Final Cut Pro later. Okay, so I have text read receipts turned on. Many of you say in iMessage, if you use iMessage at all with your iPad, Sarah, why would you ever have that? Because then people know when you've seen their messages. I feel like it is a public service that I allow my friends to have.
Yeah.
Because what do I care that they know that I saw their message? Like, I'm not avoiding any of my friends. If I get to the point where I am, then I should reevaluate my life. But right now, it's like helpful because if someone's like, be there in 5 minutes and they see that I read it, then I don't have to be like, okay, got it, I just feel like it's helpful. Anyway, but what if there's some sort of a question of when did that text get sent? I don't remember when I sent this. When did our conversation sort of end? Well, it's kind of helpful that you can usually see like sometimes it'll tell you when the last message in a thread was sent. But what if you're like, well, I just want to know all of them? Here you go. You just swipe to the left, not immediately apparent to me, and you can see exactly when and what time, not just the day, those messages were sent. Now this is, again, sort of, this is basically me messaging myself, so it looks a little bit silly, but you could use it with any conversation.
That's really cool. I could actually use that quite a bit because I never delete my messages at all.
Ever?
Anywhere. Yeah, never. Because I will
blackmail.
I know, right? Exactly. I totally did that to my sister one time. But getting back on topic, I can go back and go to some kind of historical thing and be like, okay, I know they sent me that message on Friday,
right?
So I can go back to Friday and figure out where it was.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it's sort of like that little granular detail. Again, I don't think I ever, I don't know, maybe somebody, you know, maybe that's like a feature
useful.
In a feature list
I like that.
Was written up somewhere, but I was like, oh, hey, look at that, little Easter egg.
It's somewhere, I'm sure.
Right, and you can use it as leverage in your next argument.
You can.
Yeah. I sent that at noon. Look, swipe to the left. You can't argue with me there. All right, let's take a moment to thank GoToMeeting. It's our second sponsor of this episode of iPad Today. Leo and I love GoToMeeting. Leo is constantly, well, I mean, the thing with Twit is that most of us are in the studio, but we have a variety of calls. Sometimes we're talking to our advertisers. Sometimes we're talking to each other. I work from home a couple days a week. We're not always together, but we're always having to collaborate with each other. If we're talking about, hey, what are the next things we're going to talk about on iPad Today, or hey, this is the way that you use this app. I know you're not in front of me right now. Here, let me walk you through it. GoToMeeting is great, not just to see your coworkers and your colleagues, but to be able to walk each other through a variety of things that might be on your computer, but you don't have everybody in one conference room to look at it all together. With GoToMeeting by Citrix, our friends at Citrix, your team is just a click away. You can share the same screen to collaborate in real time. GoToMeeting with HD Faces allows you to see your coworkers, your colleagues, anybody you're doing business with in beautiful HD. It's like they're sitting right in front of you. You can see their facial expressions. You know if somebody's getting huffy and puffy about, I don't know, some HR policies that have to be implemented, whatever. I mean, it's good to be able to read that body language. Your coworkers can be not just on the go, but maybe you've got clients in another city, another state, another country. You've got to walk them through something. In fact, a lot of the times, it's actually great with Citrix and GoToMeeting. This is how they show us new features of their products. And they can use the product in the most perfect way possible. You just turn on your webcam and you make your online meeting an HD video conference. Feels like you're in the same room. You can launch or join a meeting from anywhere using your computer, your smartphone, or your tablet. So if you're sitting in the airport or at a hotel room, or you're just at some remote location on a beach, it all works. All you need is that webcam and everybody can see you. And you can even present with your iPad. iPad Today viewers love that. If you're ready to wow your coworkers and everybody's remote, you go ahead and just walk through everything that you need to show them about the next presentation straight from your iPad. You can try GoToMeeting free for 30 days, a whole month of trying out GoToMeeting free. For the special offer, visit GoToMeeting.com. You click the Try It Free button, and then you use the promo code iPad. That's easy enough to remember, but I'll tell you again. GoToMeeting.com, click the Try It Free button, and use the promo code iPad to try GoToMeeting free for 30 days. Thanks to our friends at Citrix who make GoToMeeting. Meeting is believing. Works great. Okay, let's get back to some of our feedback for the week. The first one comes from, we got a lot, we asked people last week because Ayaz and I were sort of like going through our first thoughts on iOS 7. Is there too much animation? What do we think about the colors? Is it my biggest issue was I felt like it was really, really slow.
Somebody emailed me and said, well, it's great if you like neon colors. And I was like, well, I like neon colors.
Yeah.
So great. And I changed my wallpaper, so no more neons.
So there you go. Yeah, and I've got this sort of, I don't know, ominous wallpaper of a hallway, and I think it actually works really well because I don't even notice it.
Yeah.
It's almost, it's a little bit more interesting than just a gray background, but it's there. I'm with you, Shannon. I really, there is no color, at least on my home screen. And yes, I use a lot of folders on my home screen, so maybe
I do too.
Maybe there's somewhat of a de-emphasized view of big bright apps, but I think it's fine. And I even really hated the Safari logo when I first saw it.
Yeah.
And I don't even notice it now.
It took me a moment to find the settings because that gear icon changed quite a bit.
Yes, yes. The only thing that really saved me is that settings is always lower right of dock. Yeah. That's where it has to be for me, no matter what happens. So, yeah, Ayaz said that is the ugliest thing he's ever seen. I don't know. It's like it doesn't take long for me to just get used to it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it didn't take me long. I got integrated really quick. It was a little bit slow on my iPad though. When I first downloaded it, it was a little bit laggy, and I was like, oh God, I hope it doesn't stay like this. But it seems to like have caught up. So
I find the same thing. I haven't deleted anything off of my iPad, and I have many apps. So my iPad, I think, is just it's chugging along in general. But it seemed to be really laggy last week to the point where I was like, ooh, gosh, I don't know. This might still be a beta thing. Were they ready to launch it to the public? And now I think it seems fine.
I think so too, yeah.
Better anyway. Maybe not fine. That might be optimistic. Anyway, H, that's the only way that H described themselves. So I don't know if you're a man, a woman, a cat, or dog, whatever. Says, in last week's show, you talk about problems with iOS 7. Well, my problem is not with iOS specifically, but with iTunes. In iTunes 11, which also rolled out along with iOS 7, the shuffle setting, if you want to play a bunch of music, is global instead of playlist specific. The change bothers me so much, I refuse to update, and that's why I can't get iOS 7. Oh, okay, so hold on a second. So if you go into iTunes, what you're saying, H, is if you've got playlists that you've set up for yourself and you want to play songs simply within that playlist rather than in your entire music library, Star Wars alert tones, that's when I last opened iTunes. That was a week ago. Okay, what's wrong? Now
iTunes
would that be
11,
would that be in my
I had to
music
download
app?
a new iTunes app to install the new iOS 7 on my computer.
Yeah.
Is he referring to using the software on your computer as opposed to on your iPad?
Well, that would not make a lot of sense because he's talking about how it keeps him from using, oh, here we go, music app, duh. Now I think what he's saying, or she, is saying that if you want to go ahead and shuffle, you can't do it within a playlist.
Ah.
So, okay. Let's just call it 90s music. Well, no, let's see.
See, I had to
I don't have a lot of the
actually
stuff set up yet.
or update iTunes on my computer before it would let me install iOS 7 on my phone. Like I plugged it in that morning and it didn't recognize it. It was like, oh, there are no updates available. I updated iTunes and then I plugged it in again and it said, update available, iOS 7. So I wonder if he's talking about like how you have to update on your computer before it'll actually let you do it.
Right. Well,
like the shuffle issue.
Maybe. Yeah,
I want some clarification.
I think we need a little bit more information on what exactly the problem is. Now, and when you say...
Either way, that bothers me because I have a lot of playlists and I don't want all of them shuffled.
Yeah.
That would be really bad for my wedding playlist.
See, now I feel like H, maybe you're experiencing buggy behavior because I shuffle within a playlist that I play on my iPhone in my car via Bluetooth, so I get it in the speakers. And I've got iOS 7, and it's not bouncing around in my entire collection, so hopefully this is an issue. I'm not happy that you're having this issue, but hopefully this is an issue that can be resolved.
I hope it gets fixed soon.
Now, when you say that you always update your phone using your MacBook,
I just
is that just because you like to
USB
to keep the backup?
Yeah, I like to back it up, and I feel like it's faster than doing it wirelessly.
And I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just do it that way.
I think I exercised my right to wireless downloads just because for so long we had none.
That's true.
It's like the phone, it goes anywhere. Or the iPad, it's so mobile. Unless you need to update anything. And then you've got to use your fancy cords and your old your Mac or PC. So Okay, well, there's lots of different ways of doing things. George in Sweden has also some feedback for iOS 7. He says, I really don't like the revamped Videos app on my iPad. Before, the app showed me what video files I'd actually downloaded. This was useful when I needed to make space for a new download because I could easily see what was on the iPad. But also, if I want to AirPlay something to my Apple TV, it's nice to know that it's coming from the iPad, doesn't require internet accessibility, or if it's streaming, and it does. Now, the app shows me just one page, all the movies I've ever bought from iTunes, and then another page with all the TV shows. The only way to determine what's actually on the iPad is to click on a TV show, scroll through the list of everything in the series I've bought, divide it by season, and then try to figure out what's actually downloaded and what's just in the cloud. George says, this is very annoying to me. It's possible that there's an easy way around it that I'm unaware of, so I would welcome a tip telling me where I've gone wrong. You know, George, I find that the Videos app in general is just very annoying as well. And here's why. Okay, so for example, I buy some, your rental period for a month. Oh, crap. I forgot about that. I'm gonna have to buy that again. So I go ahead and get season passes for a couple of the shows, like Breaking Bad. I like The Americans as well. I don't have cable, so these are on 2 networks that I just can't get. So this is something that I do all the time. Now, I find that, and it's very annoying because I know some people like extras, but I don't really like watching extras for shows.
Yeah.
And they don't have a good way to be like, you know, I have to go in and look and see, oh, if something's 47 minutes and 21 seconds, I know it's an episode rather than some sort of behind the scenes thing from that week. So it's kind of this annoying, just scrolly thing of a bunch of stuff, right? Hopefully, just no one read any of this stuff and so you won't get any spoilers. And the same goes for movies. And so George is saying, well, you've got all this stuff, and then, you know, this is your TV show and this is your movie section for the stuff that you've bought or rented. But he says it's not easy to figure out what I've downloaded already versus what's in iCloud. I don't know. I mean, that looks like iCloud to me. I mean, I can obviously see some of the stuff I've already looked at. Some of it I haven't because it's got that little blue dot icon.
Now, when you download something onto your iPad, does that icon disappear or does it change into something else? That little cloud icon.
It will say. It will take too long for me to do it now because I end up watching the show from my iPad mini for reasons that it doesn't matter, but it'll say like ready to play, downloaded.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious, but what is annoying, okay, so I'm basically saying, George, you're crazy. What is annoying is that when you are downloading something, you go into iTunes, you find it. So let's say it's like, I want to download some new, TV show. And then blah, 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 blah. You go ahead and pick something. I say like All About Eva, whatever that is, latest TV episode of something. And then I go ahead and download it. And it starts downloading here in my download section of iTunes.
Okay.
But then it won't show up in the Videos app until it's completely downloaded.
Oh.
But why isn't that all in one place?
Yeah, that's funny.
Why isn't this just some feature of iTunes? Or why don't you see some sort of progress bar of what's downloading in your Videos app, because that's where you're going to be eventually.
That drives me crazy.
That's
split up.
Yeah, this is not new to iOS 7. It's always been this way, as far as I know.
Yeah, it's been there for a while.
I don't get it. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I didn't like it when they changed it because I watch video and audio podcasts and
they
split up, and I was like, where did my videos go?
Yeah,
it drove me nuts.
Good call. Well, I guess you could argue that if you are opening the Videos app, it should show you videos that are ready, not videos that are partially downloaded or going to be another couple of hours or that are in some sort of a queue. But it still just doesn't seem intuitive to me.
Yeah. I know what you're saying.
Good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
I agree, yo.
All right, so how much do you use gestures? Are you doing the 4-finger swipe?
No, I'm not.
I don't really do it
I always
either.
forget that they exist.
Yeah. Joe says, in iOS 7, once you launch Newsstand, you can no longer use the 5-finger pinch to close the app or use the 4-finger swipe to go to the previous app.
Really?
Shall we try? Yes, because I want to make sure.
So how do you do it? 4-finger to go to the previous app?
Yeah.
Do you swipe in from the side?
Well, but do you have gestures turned on anyway?
Oh, I don't know.
So I've got multitasking gestures turned on here. Use 4 or 5 fingers to pinch to the home screen. Swipe up to multitasking. Swipe left or right between apps. Okay, that should all work. Fine.
Oh.
So,
yeah. Okay, I have it turned on. So I can switch back and forth between like my calendar and our rundown for today.
Yeah.
But I can't do that in Newsstand. Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What's the deal?
I wonder if I will ever use Newsstand.
Wait a second. I just did it.
Did you?
Yes. Yes, Joe. Whoa, hey, closing things. Oh my gosh. My iPad is really mad.
You crashed your iPad.
Hard reset. See, this happens. Okay, I take back everything I said about it being somehow more stable than last week. This is not good. This is a real thing that happens.
Happens all the time.
Thanks for that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so Joe, I gotcha. You can actually use gestures, but you'll just brick your iPad in the process. So, joke's on you, man.
Another bug.
Right, exactly. Got an email from George who says, this is a conversation Leo and I had a few weeks ago because we had somebody send us a video question saying, I live in a rural area of Connecticut. I would love the idea of picking up some sort of an over-the-air TV signal on my iPad. Can I do that? And Leo, there's a couple different, there's Aereo, there's a couple different options. iTV, EYE TV is another option, but those are they're subscription based, and it's not really what was being asked. He basically said, can we get to a point where an over-the-air antenna will give me NBC on my iPad? And Leo said, that'll never happen. George says, my contrarian view is this. Has Sarah, because I said, woo, wouldn't that be nice? Has Sarah stumbled upon a secret that Steve Jobs is reported to have cracked? There was sort of that famous, I've cracked it. It was part of the Steve Jobs bio about Apple TV, the future of Apple. An iPad that also has an OTA broadcast capability is a further differentiation from other tablets. Tie in the ability for iTunes to know that what you're watching and the Apple TV. Instead of being a 50-inch set in the living room, it's a 10-inch device that goes everywhere. It would be a 16:9 1080p screen format instead of the Retina 4.3. This would allow Apple to not cannibalize current model sales. You can watch what you want over the air, streaming, or purchase shows anywhere. The iPad Touch interface is second to none. The battery life is there. OTA capability wouldn't annoy content owners. These are legal broadcasts. The cable partners would still have a lock on things like HBO or Cinemax in the USA. I think the biggest issue would be the DVR part of it. Content and cable is not going to want a DVR. Users would want one. A solution? Maybe some sort of a limited time DVR. You could rewind a limited small amount of time for maybe a show, no background DVR capability. He says, iPad Next Gen coming October. Could this be the Apple TV we've all been waiting for?
Ooh.
I think that sounds like a wonderful unicorn universe.
I like that idea. I too, well, I have cable at home, but it's just because Comcast wanted a subscriber and they actually gave me a discount for getting cable with the internet. I don't know. It was stupid.
I've heard that. Makes no sense.
I consider myself a cable cutter because I pretend that it doesn't even exist in my household. I use Netflix and everything else. This would be really useful. I love over the air.
Oh, I do. I mean, it doesn't work for all football games because I don't have access to ESPN without buying some sort of a package. But NBC, Fox, CBS, ABC, my PBS affiliate, KQED. These are all basically signals that I get for free at home.
Yeah, me too.
It's like, that's just free TV. And network shows, Saturday Night Live. It's like, it's certainly not cable.
Yeah.
But it is, it does the job for a lot of the big stuff.
It does, and when it doesn't, you have websites that are available, such as CWTV.com. They have their episodes on air available the day after they air on TV. So,
which is,
for me, that's perfect.
You don't even have to use Hulu.
Yeah.
Because it's day after. Well, I mean, I pay for Hulu. Now, it's interesting that you say you've got cable not really because you care about it so much, but because it ends up making your internet cheaper.
Yeah.
But since you have it already, why stay away from it?
I don't like it. I don't like the cable box. I don't like that. I think the whole idea of, internet ISP providers trying to like beg you to be a subscriber just tells me so much about the cable, the entire cable genre just kind of dying and slowly figuring out that they're losing subscribers. So they're starting to basically give it away. To me, I don't like commercials. I don't like having to flip through channels or anything like that. I know that's kind of like old school, but yeah, I still flip through channels. So I just like to go to a website and be able to watch it right there. You know, either commercial free or only 30-second commercials instead of 5 minutes long.
Well, you reserve the right to access your content however you like.
As long as it's legal.
I applaud you for not giving in to the cable overlords.
Thank you.
Even though it's just dangling right in front of you for free.
It is.
No, I'd rather use other methods.
It's there, but I just don't use it. The remote is still in the box in my garage.
Those are really ugly remotes too.
Yeah, they're super ugly.
I have to say. I mean, having my little Roku remote and my Apple TV remote.
I love my Roku remote. It's great.
I know. It's such a little thing. You play little Angry Birds. All right.
Remotes.
Do you ever play games on your TV? Using apps like this, or
no, I'm a
anything
console
from your
gamer.
iPad.
Yeah. I have a PS4 and an Xbox 360, and GTA 5 has been taking over my TV recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't really stream games to my television at all. That's not a me thing.
What about iPad games? I mean, is there anything that you feel like you've played for more than a week at a time? Because I mean, anybody who watches the show knows that most games don't stick with me.
I need to pull them up. I forget the name off the top of my head because that happens whenever I'm doing shows on the internet. There's a game called Aquaria, and I believe it might have been an AppCat from one of your previous episodes, but it's a really fun game. It's about this mermaid, and you're trying to find out like where she's from. She's forgotten her memory, so she's trying to figure out like
I don't remember
what's going on in her mind. She's slowly, bringing back these memories about her past life and everything.
Well, I mean, just look at how beautiful Game Center is all of a sudden.
I know, it's so pretty.
I mean, just that alone is like iOS 7 is worth it.
Yeah, so I can swim around and whatnot. And then she can like sing music and stuff.
Oh, maybe this is one of Leo's games. It's definitely not one of mine. Sometimes I don't pay much attention to Leo's game app caps, but this seems like something Leo would love. Oh, this is pretty cute.
I love adventure games, so I was all about this game.
It's adorable.
So yeah, I was obsessing over this for a while, and I like strategy games too. I love strategies. Those are super fun. Like Osmos HD,
this one, that's a fun one.
Yeah, it's stupid, but I love this game so much. I obsessed over it for a long time. It was great for, especially if you're on a plane. This is a great time waster. So you choose one of the choices on here. I'll just start at 1, and basically you want to become the biggest Osmos, whatever these things are called, molecule or whatever.
Oh,
so I just move around, and I'm supposed to collect these
and
bubbles.
then you get stronger, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, we always call these like meditative games. I mean, there's a strategy involved, but it's like, you can almost be playing it and thinking of something else completely.
Yeah, you can.
It's kind of
That's
just.
why I like it.
Yeah, it's like some sort of a. It's not a brain teaser. It's like a, I don't know what it is. It's like popping bubble wrap or something.
Yeah,
you just kind of want to do it while you're thinking about your life.
It is. It's meditative.
Yeah, it's meditative.
Exactly.
All right. Speaking of meditative, not really. Let's take a moment to thank Shutterstock, our third and final sponsor of this episode of iPad Today. Brian, look at ready the cats.
Kitties?
I mentioned earlier in the show that there might be cats, and I wasn't kidding, because this is a nice thing about Shutterstock, is it's not just about cats, but you get things like, oh gosh, it's always hard for me to do this backwards. hey bud, no, where'd you go? Come on back, mister. Oh, hi.
Oh, look at him, he's
so cute. I got a kitty on my shoulder.
Oh, hi.
Oh, you're so cute. You look just like Lucy. Can you not spread your fleas all over my house? How is a cat on my shoulder? How are we doing this? What is this? What's going on? Is this some sort of a magic trick? No, this is actually part of our video collection at Shutterstock.com.
It's amazing.
They know that You don't have to be a professional to say, hey, I understand how green screens work. I just don't have the media at my fingertips to be able to create some kind of, I don't know, like a crazy video with this cat. I don't have access to a cat. I don't have access to, you know, these fish. This is great. This is so cool. Now, of course, it's not just green screen stuff.
He's got his butt in your face.
Hey, get your butt out of my face, dude.
There we go.
Shutterstock has over 28 million high-quality stock photos, illustrations, vectors, video clips such as these. Not just video clips that would get superimposed over your video, but they could be, or they could be, yeah, it's just static images or images of a kitty out in a field type of a thing. It's awesome. Whether you want something like this for your website, that would be great for, you know, the static images, some sort of a publication, you're putting together a video, some sort of a funny montage, you know, you want a cat sitting on your shoulder, hey, Shutterstock makes it really easy. You saw us just do it on the fly. You can choose from over 28 million. Think about that for a second. High quality images and videos, plus the company adds 10,000 images every day. So the library is just growing exponentially. You're always going to find something new every day, even if you feel like, oh, I know exactly what's at Shutterstock.com. Maybe you didn't see that pug. Now Pugsley is part of the library. You can choose individual image packs or a monthly subscription for the best deal. Or you can download 25 images a day with a standard subscription, and it goes up from there. But if you want to download any image in any size, you just pay that one price. So you have a lot of flexibility. You might say, oh, that really adorable picture of that little corgi with really short legs. I could use that in a couple different projects, but I need a couple different versions. Shutterstock has that built into their pricing. Plus, search tools. You can search for dogs and cats and all sorts of stuff. I mean, you can search
ferrets,
for sunsets and ferrets. And gosh, I started following this Instagram account of this ferret last night. Boy, is he cute! I'm gonna have to send you the
we need to
the
talk.
account. Yeah. Oh my gosh, look at the ferrets. Yeah, it's not all about animals and sunsets too. It's pretty much anything. You can search for an emotion. You could be like, I don't know, I don't even know what I'm looking for image-wise, but I know that I'm putting together some sort of a website, maybe for, you know, that's an advertisement that's supposed to convey anger because you're introducing some sort of a solution for a bunch of angry customers who, you know, don't like what the solutions were before you built this great product. Really let your mind go wild, and I promise Shutterstock has got the image or the video for you. You can try Shutterstock today just by signing up for a free account. Don't need a credit card. Start an account. Just start browsing around, start sharing Shutterstock images with maybe colleagues, maybe you're collaborating on something. You can save everything to a Lightbox, and then I can say, Shannon, look at all these ferret images, and she can go into the Lightbox and look at them later.
Gladly.
Once you decide to purchase an account, because this is starting to sound better and better, look at all the ferrets. Use the offer code iPadAday9, so that's IPADTODAY, the number 9, and new accounts will receive 25% off any package at Shutterstock.com. And for 25% off new accounts, use the offer code iPadAday9. Meow. Hey, get out of here, buddy.
iPad today.
I gotta put on my AppCat. Oh my.
AppCat time.
Oh my goodness. This was chosen for me, and boy, am I happy.
Don't freak out, okay?
Olay. Okay. Am I? Oh my God. What? That is the app cap to end all app caps.
What?
Can you see?
Not really, no.
Oh. You're sort of seeing out of your nostrils. That's a new one. Shannon, where did this come from?
I don't know.
Why are you wearing a horse head?
Oh, there's my ears.
This is very disconcerting.
Why?
Well,
don't you like it?
The cat is like, oh, really? Yeah, this is we've maybe gotten to truly uncharted territory, even for this show, which is saying a lot.
Oh, I poked myself in the eyeball. That's no good.
Don't do that, Horsey. Horsey, do you have a name?
I do.
And it's?
MacArthur.
Oh, MacArthur the horse. This is great. Oh, boy. Wow. Hey, are you going to be able to actually talk about an app cap as a horse, lady?
I don't know, man. I'm stuck in Brony land right now.
Well, let's do our best.
I can't really do anything with it on.
You could sort of have, you know, we've seen what's happening. it's kind of like a deflated horse. You look sort of like a, I don't know, like a member of
Oh, I thought that was going to go bad for a second there.
Yeah.
Member of what?
Well, no, not, I don't, yeah, you know what?
The horse club?
Yeah.
Member of
you look like the
a writing team?
I was going to try to make some
It
sort
matches
of
my shirt.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Perfect. Don't move. Oh. Snout.
Well, I have another
fail.
one, so I'll put this one on for now.
You do?
I do.
Oh, you're a pretty, pretty princess.
I came prepared.
Well, see, that's perfect. The horse is like, I'm tired, and now it's like, yeah, you kiss a horse, it turns Shannon into a princess. Perfect. This is the part of the show where me and Shannon, we decide to choose an app each, one app each, so only get one, that we like and we think is awesome and we want to share with you. I'll go ahead and start us off. This is an app that I didn't want to give it away earlier, but when I was showing you that iOS 7 apps that are optimized for iOS 7 collection, I discovered an app that I did not know existed before, and that is called, let me find it here in my, Scanner Pro. Oops, sorry. Let me make sure that my feathers don't ruin this. Scanner Pro is all about the idea that, in a perfect world, nobody's actually having to print out anything anymore. If I have something that I need you to sign, Shannon, maybe it's like a time off request or something. It's like, we all just want to do that on our computers or in our iPads, and let's just keep the whole thing digital. But that's just not the way that life works. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's something that's some sort of a physical copy that it starts out as a physical copy, and you think, I want this to become part of my iPad experience, and that's where Scanner Pro comes in. Okay, so this is a $2.99 app, and what it does is you say, all right, well, I've got a document here. Let's see, we'll get creative here. A document that I want, it's an analog document right now, and I want to make sure that I've got the information on my iPad. Now, this is kind of weird because very rarely will this document be on a, lipstick-stained mug, but whatever, that's what I had. And I go ahead and say, okay, I took a picture. Picture looks pretty nice. And now Scanner Pro will attempt to say, all right, well, oops, sorry, I had to take this off. I want you guys to actually see the app, not my feathers. I think this is about the area that you're interested in. Now I can say, go ahead and find the borders, auto, or I can say, no, you know what, I want this to be, it's basically printer speak, but like the legal dimensions, or regular letter, which is the 8x10, or A5, or a business card, or that sort of thing, and then it'll give the app a better understanding if for some reason it's like, oh, I think that it's this size. I mean, obviously I'm throwing a little bit of a curveball here because again, it's a mug. At that point, you say done, and then the app will attempt to crop the image. So, for example, earlier today, I had, oops, oh no, that's not what I meant to do. Let's go back to my other guide that I had scanned earlier. This was a postcard. Now, this is a postcard that I actually had sent myself from France a long time ago. So this is it's just basically like a collage of photos that I took. But this postcard, I took the picture of it on my desk over on the TNT set, and it wasn't actually framed up perfectly. Mm-hmm. I was just basically trying to say, is Scanner Pro really gonna crop this? And it cropped it perfectly. I mean, it cropped it exactly right. It knew. Wow. And that's scanner programs a good scanner program for a hardware version of a scanner that's set up to my computer. My scanner does that pretty well too, where it'll try to crop off the stuff that I don't need outside of a document. But I've never actually had this capability inside an iPad app as well. Now you say, all right, well, you've got the mug, or you've got this, postcard. Now what happens? You've scanned it, but how does that help you? Well, the nice thing is that Scanner Pro has a really nice interface to send this image now to a bunch of different places. So I can go ahead and upload it to Dropbox, Evernote, Google Drive. I can, I've got quite a few options, but the best part is, let's say I want to sign this. Most of the documents that I want scanned have to somehow be annotated. They need my signature or initials or that sort of thing. So if I say open in, and I say, let's just go ahead and call it a PDF because I can work within PDFs. Here are all these programs that I have on my iPad already that support PDF that I could now open it in. Now I happen to use Notability. Cool. That's usually my my let's mark up this PDF app of choice. It's just one of the ones that I like the most. I go ahead and say create new note, and there you go. Now this opens up, and now at this point, I can go ahead and say, oh, I can make all the changes to this that I need to, and this is a whole nother app, so it doesn't really matter. But this would be where you would sign a document or make little notes or this and that. And it was nice because the app Scanner Pro takes it a little step beyond just saying, oh, well, you could just take a picture of something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that exactly what this is? Kind of, but it's a fancier way to do it. With Scanner Pro, not only do you get the image, but then you can go in and you can bring in images from obviously your camera roll or your photo stream. You can, once the image is scanned, not only does it do a good job of cropping, but then you can adjust the brightness and the contrast. And for documents, especially a contract or something where it's just like basically a bunch of text, that sometimes doesn't work that well in scanners, where it's like, ooh, it's scanned it, but it's really dark and it's a little bit hard to read, and maybe I need to fax this eventually. It's a great little app. Again, it's $3, $2.99 in the App Store. So this is something I think is it's great for you if you find yourself constantly frustrated by hard copies of things.
Yes, I do.
So that's who I think that this is for. If you're working in an office, especially if I don't know, it's a great scanner alternative. I think I'm gonna put. I
think this would be useful to scan receipts for.
That too.
Like I could scan receipts and then put it in Notability and make some notes on that receipt that says like taking coworkers out for lunch or something.
Exactly.
Like that.
In fact, that is one of the things I hate the most about
receipts.
Yeah, expense reports.
Expenses.
Is like, okay, well, you go to CES, right? And you end up spending, maybe there's some products that you bought because you're going to use them on before you buy, and maybe there's some dinners and this and that. And before, it'd be like, you'd have to have all the receipts and like tape them to a piece of paper and then scan that and then give that to, your accounting department. I mean, I really did that for years and years. It was the worst thing ever. And now with something like this, not only could you scan them easily, but just clean up the whole thing.
I like it.
Give yourself a diptic of receipts.
There you go.
While you're at it.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right, Shannon. That's
I also have one.
All right. Let's see.
What is
it? What is it?
So I do a whole bunch of eBay selling and buying and stuff because I'm a horrible shopaholic. So sometimes I try to sell as much as I purchase so that I end up not making or selling any.
All right, sure.
So I keep the same amount of money, but I'm just selling and receiving at the same time.
Yeah.
So this is the eBay app. I'm sure you've talked about it on the show before, but I don't think it's been a app cap before.
No.
This is the eBay app for iPad, and I actually use this pretty often so that I can sell products as well as watch things and purchase things. So I set it up so I can give you a couple of different examples. I have my program set up already. It's under my account. I just logged in automatically. It's kind of neat. It blurs it in the background whenever you go into your profile settings over here. Up at the top, you have the options to do searches through all the different categories on eBay. Mm-hmm. Your home is where you can see what you're watching, buying, and selling. You can also sell stuff straight from the home. You can see your messages if it has any notifications. Like I just bought this little Sailor Moon decal, so it wants me to leave feedback, which I won't do till I receive it. And then your cart, if you have some items in your cart. So over here, I can see everything that I've bidded on, my watch list, purchase, sell it, sells, save searches, which is interesting, messages, and reminders. So I'll go to my watch list. Right here. So this shows you everything that I'm currently watching, and I can go in here and check out like when things are going to expire. Luckily, a lot of these are buy it nows. This one is going to expire in 2 days. It tells you 2 days right there, very thin in that gray area. Mm-hmm. You click on one and then you can easily place a bid or purchase it now, do whatever you want. And you can read about the description, you can click on the picture and see it larger. And it gives you this nice big photo of everything that you're buying.
Love it.
eBay does require large pictures whenever you sell stuff, so now it shows up really, really nice on your iPad as well. If you're selling, so I set up an item that I'm selling, so I'll click in here and this shows you the product that I decided to sell. So
what is it? What's
it's,
rest and recharge?
It's just an example I set up. It's this thing called a docking station. It's a quirky converge docking station.
Oh, okay.
So I took all these pictures in my office, and then I set it out so you can see everything. You can zoom in and see all the different ports.
Oh, see, iPad is perfect for this.
Yeah, it's great. Really, really good for browsing if you're a purchaser. And selling is very, very easy in it. So if I wanted to sell an item, I'll say what I'm selling. I'll say that I'm selling a pony hat.
One pony
because
hat.
Why not? And then it'll ask me to choose a category. It'll ask me to take some pictures, so I can click into the camera and take some photos if I want to. Right now it's covered up by my screen. And then I can go down and add a description, which is really important, the format and the price, and you can even change your shipping options on here as well.
So you don't even really have to think about, oh, what is all the information I need, because it just walks you through it.
It makes it really, really easy on here. So once you've done everything, you can save it and then you close. And of course, you can also publish once you're done. And I'll click out of there. So I can go back here, and then once I've sold something or once I've purchased something, I can go into my purchase history and it'll show me exactly what I'm purchasing. So it'll show me if it's can be trackable yet, which it can't, it hasn't been shipped yet. It'll show me if I can leave feedback yet, so I could click on this and choose like 5 stars if they're a really good seller and whatnot. And then I can just go back to my home screen and start my searches all over. So I can customize the home screen with new products that I want to use. Save searches is something I use on eBay a lot. So I have like a My Little Pony Comic Con because I like ponies. So I can click on that and it'll automatically add a new icon so I can search My Little Ponies really easily.
Nice.
So I like this pony, I can go in there, and then I could add it to my watch list really easily with the little eyeball. Watch right there.
I also noticed that eBay's app, if you look in the App Store, it was updated just over a week ago.
Oh.
So most recent update, September 17th. And it says, and this is version 3, and it says, I mean, I haven't been in the eBay app recently, but I guess the design has been refreshed, new features. You've got night mode if you like shopping in the dark and not waking your fiance.
So if you want to turn on night mode, you simply swipe over. I have such a hard time grabbing the little swipe.
You might have to turn off auto.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Duh.
Duh.
There we go.
Yeah.
So that'll turn it black as opposed to a white background.
There you go. Love that.
Nice and dimmer. I actually prefer black over the white.
Some people, yeah. So sometimes it's not about night mode. It's just more comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm more of a white background person. I don't know why, but it's nice to have the option.
I use this constantly. I love selling stuff on eBay, and I love purchasing things. I find it really, really nice. I do have my own issues with eBay when it comes to selling stuff, because a lot of times they'll take a buyer's side if there's a complaint.
Right.
Even though not all the time the buyer is correct, even though people say they are. But it is a really, really nice app. I'm glad that they updated it, and I've been using it quite a bit to get rid of some of my old crap.
Which is, hey, I mean,
like
that's the beauty of eBay. It started out, I think a lot of people still go like, oh, it's auction stuff. I don't know. I don't have time for that. But like you said, you can just buy things on eBay. It's a marketplace
you can choose buy it now,
cool
or
stuff.
You can choose auctions if you're used to auctioning. It's really stressful actually having to deal with an auction. I don't like auctions that much, so I usually choose buy it now.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of some people are
selling.
like, it's like a rush, right? Yeah. You know, you want to get the best deal, and there's kind of the fun aspect of it, and other people don't like that, and so eBay knows it offers more than just one type of service.
It's really useful. Like, I'm obsessed with anime stuff, like Sailor Moon things, and a lot of those you can't find in the U.S., so I'll have to go onto eBay and find somebody selling from Japan to get the comic that I really want to get, or whatever it might be. Yeah. So that's nice. And then I can just sell all my bridesmaid dresses to match the price, and then I made off.
Perfect. Yeah. It's perfect. And I think last I heard there was a gold 64 gig iPhone selling on eBay for like $10,000. By the way, please don't buy that. That's so dumb.
Wow.
Just give me the money. If you can have mine.
That's crazy.
Give me the money, please.
That is insane.
Don't do that. Speaking of iPhones, I really hope that I can get my iPhone later. But that's neither here nor there. I'll talk about that on i5. If all goes well, or if all doesn't.
I wish you luck.
That'll be one of my rants. Thank you, Shannon. And thank you so much for helping me host this
you are so
episode
welcome.
of iPad Today.
Anytime.
Oh, the princess is so busy, but not too busy for me. I don't know what I am here. I'm like the juggler. I'm the court jester.
You're my homegirl.
I'm not. Yeah, exactly. I'm a feathery jester, homegirl gal. And thank you for the horse head, even though I know it's not the sort of thing that you can do a whole lot of demoing with. But
that was really fun.
That was unexpected.
Oh, there's the horse head.
Oh. Oh, I see. Brian's wearing it now. Oh, Brian.
He's switching with the horse head. Nice. You go, Brony.
I mean, that's one of the weirder things I've seen. I don't know why it's so weird. It just seems so real.
It's kind of creepy.
It's a realistic type of thing.
Those get raving reviews on Amazon.
Well, Halloween's right around the corner, you know. I think we all might want to be horse people.
We could come in as a family of horses.
That would be great. I just do the shows normally. Like what is weird?
Why are you guys
Do I have something in my teeth? Is that what it is?
Here, let me check my teeth.
Well, thank you again, Shannon. I know you're super busy, so I really appreciate it. This was really fun. And I don't know who my guest host is going to be next week. It's like, I don't know, we'll spin the wheel and you'll find out. I don't know. Leo's gone for one more week, then he'll be back 2 weeks from today, at least for iPad Today. That'll be the next time he's on. He's having a wonderful time abroad. Looking at he and Lisa's photos, boy, do they look fun. But hopefully he misses us enough to be back. A couple episodes from today.
I hope he comes back.
I think he will. Otherwise, we'll run this place into the ground.
Party, yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for... What is this? What? Is that supposed to be Leo? Or is that just Beach Blanket Babylon?
That's just the hat, what the hat reminds me of.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Amazing.
I should be on Beach Blanket Babylon. It's a troupe of people. It's a show in San Francisco, if you have no idea what that is. It's actually a really funny show. Everybody should see it at least once. That's it for this episode of iPad Today. Thanks, everybody, for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week. Ow!
Nay!